CTV News with Caroline Van Vlartigan.
Good evening. Quebec's medical specialists have a new deal with the government. Word of the agreement in principle comes from the Specialist Federation and the Premier. Negotiations on the salaries for the specialists resumed earlier this month after talks broke down in January. Details about the agreement have not been released yet, but Premier Christine Fréchette says she told government negotiators to find a solution quickly for the benefit of all Quebecers, which was a priority. Well, in a Canadian first, the West Central CIUS, or Healthcare Agency, is launching a program approved by the World Health Organization to prevent illness in seniors. Integrated care for older people, or ICOPE, involves a range of prevention tools at home, including nutrition and fitness to avoid loss of mobility and cognition loss. Now, this can be more expensive than other options later in hospitals, or less expensive than long-term care homes.
If the government is willing to put in the home care resources and, yes, the resources for nutritionists, I think that's going to be much more important to keep these elderly individuals in the community than it is to have them in the hospital and to have them in nursing homes, which is definitely much more expensive and very heavy care.
And the ICOPE program is being implemented at a cost of $100,000, which comes directly from the JGH Foundation and the Schuel Center for Excellence at the Jewish General Hospital. A new petition is calling on the federal government to legislate age verification technology for social media. The effort is being driven by Quebec parents worried about the effects of social media on teens under the age of 16. It calls for a law enforcing social media giants like TikTok and Instagram to use third-party software that estimates the age of users by their facial features. It would not require users to show any identification documents.
They just have to show their face, and age estimation is exactly that. It's going to estimate with an accuracy of above 99.5% the age of the potential user. And it's then going to let go or say, no, simple as that. No image, no data, no name, no IP address leaves the phone.
And the technology costs $1,000 per million users verified, and apparently more than 99% accurate in estimating the age of its users. Amnesty International's annual report on the state of the world's human rights lists Quebec's Bill 9 as a law undermining human rights. Bill 9 prohibits staff and volunteers at all schools and state-run daycares from wearing religious symbols. It also lists use of the notwithstanding clause to override constitutional concerns among its list of concerns. The 406-page report says the world is on the brink of a perilous new era of anti-rights orders taking hold in many countries around the world. A bridge to an island between Sainte-Geneviève and Île-Bizarre was closed this evening due to rising water levels. It is the only bridge onto Île-Mercier, where water levels are already dangerously high. And meantime, there's flooding in several towns and cities in Quebec. Here's Angela McKenzie.
There are just a few dozen homes left on this island, which is prone to flooding. Residents here are used to preparing for rising waters. Jean Ouellette was living here during the major floods in 2017 and 2019. He now has a pump, a generator, sandbags, and even an inflatable boat. But he's hoping he won't have to use it this time around.
And you don't have much time, because if the water comes up to here, then you cannot save anything. You have to save yourself. You know, it's like you can relax, but not too much.
Officials say the situation in Montreal is stable for now, and the mayor says so far no one has been forced out of their home.
You know, we haven't asked big areas of people to evacuate right now. We're not there yet.
Officials are closely watching several areas in Montreal, including Pierrefonds-Roxborough, Pointe-Claire, and Île-Bizarre. Pierrefonds-Roxborough Borough Mayor Jim Bass is also in charge of public security and prevention on the city's executive committee. He says Montreal is not out of the woods just yet and says it's important to stay vigilant.
The bridge here is being monitored by the hour, actually, to see if there's a necessity of closing it. And when that happens, the authorities, of course, the fire department is already mobilized in their nautical teams in case they have to bring people in and out.
In the meantime, La Salorme Road in Pierrefonds-Roxborough remains closed as a precaution. City officials say residents should contact Montreal.ca for more detailed information on flooding in their area. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
And a state of emergency has been declared in a town in western Quebec where floodwaters have begun washing out roads. Dylan Dyson has details.
Fort Collonge resident Martin Laguerriere has set up sandbags to prevent any further flooding damage to his property.
Welland Street, right there. It doesn't look like a street, but it is. It's basically flooded, so when vehicles come out, we've put some sandbags here just to avoid some of the waves coming through.
The western Quebec town has declared a state of emergency with Ottawa River levels on the rise, yet to reach its peak.
It's been raising about a centimeter an hour for the last 24 hours, like 2 meters over the last 7 days.
Sand berms line shorelines and roads with parks and farm fields already underwater. It has residents preparing their homes for potential flooding.
We just got about 16 cinder blocks so that we could put it under my furniture and raise them, so when the water does come in, if it does, the stuff won't get damaged, because anything that gets damaged we have to throw out.
While this isn't the worst flooding residents in Fort Collonge have seen, many are comparing it to the levels seen in 2023, but the expectation is that this is going to get worse.
We expect flooding every year, but it's already to that peak where normally it's the worst we get, and it's just starting.
We are expecting the water to go up, so that's why we're making dikes right now, because we know we're going to need them eventually, and we won't have the time to build them if we wait.
Following heavy rains and the spring melt, area rivers are flowing at 10 times the average volume. Any further encroachment on the town could be devastating to the wastewater system.
If we get the waters from the boat rivers in the system, then we're really in trouble. Like in the village, we would most likely have to evacuate maybe a third of the lower part of the village.
When I go to bed at night, I keep an eye on it as well. I go and check downstairs, make sure the pump is working, and we'll do that. We'll wait and see.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News, Fort Collonge.
The popular weight loss drug Wegovy is currently not covered by Quebec's public drug insurance plan. Quebec's Health Research Institute says the costs are too high and the benefits uncertain. But some doctors hope that could change. Here's Matt Gilmore.
You may have seen the ads asking you to ask your doctor about Wegovy.
So Ozempic and Wegovy are the same medication, just prescribed at different doses for different reasons. So Ozempic is prescribed for diabetes, Wegovy is prescribed for weight loss.
Cardiologist Dr. Christopher Labos says there are medical benefits to treating obesity beyond cosmetic reasons.
It leads to complications, diabetes, high blood pressure, and increases the risk of heart disease and cancer. The reason we treat obesity is to prevent cardiovascular events.
But in 2 recent evaluations of Wegovy, Quebec's Health Research Institute, INES, recommended the government not reimburse the drug under its public insurance plan, writing, "Given its modest efficacy, safety concerns, its disproportionate cost relative to the clinical benefits it provides, and its excessive budgetary impact, the members consider that reimbursing Wegovy for the secondary prevention of cardiovascular events is not a responsible, fair, or equitable decision." The drug does come with side effects like nausea, vomiting, and bloating, but Labos says they usually go away for most patients. As for the cost, Ines estimates it would be close to $1 billion over 5 years, jeopardizing the sustainability of the entire public insurance plan.
If you're going to exclude them on a cost-benefit ratio because of the cost, that's a point of view, but I think we're going to be having a very different conversation about these medications a year from now.
That's because the maker of Wegovy allowed its patent to expire in Canada in January, and generics could soon start flooding the market, bringing down the price.
Maybe the risk-benefit calculation is going to change in their minds, but from a purely medical scientific standpoint, if you want scientific studies showing that there's a cardiovascular benefit to these medications, it's there. It's been published. I've written about it extensively.
Quebec's health ministry has postponed making a final decision on the drug. Ines says the price would have to come down around 70 to 80% for it to be cost effective. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Well, if you were filling up your gas tank today, you saved a little bit on gas. But as Anastasia Dextrine reports, it's not going to last.
It's a little less pain at the pump for motorists.
I was just kind of driving by and saw the lower prices. It's much lower than usual these days.
Gas prices currently sit at around 188 cents per litre, according to CAA Quebec. But on Monday, some Montreal gas stations saw prices as low as 178.9. It's the result of a federal government pause on fuel excise taxes, and it will remain in effect until September 7th.
I applaud the government for trying to do something about higher gas prices. Really, it takes a big chunk out of the average person's income.
The measure could save Canadians 4 cents per litre on diesel and as much as 10 cents per litre on regular gasoline. It's intended to offset rising oil prices amid the global energy crisis. But energy politics expert Simon Langlois-Bertrand says consumers may still have reason to be concerned.
There's no guarantee that the oil companies will actually cut the price by 10 cents. They might be tempted to just eat a little bit of it for their own benefit. And so to see this measure as determinant in really, lowering the cost of living due to gas expenses, I'm a little bit doubtful.
And if lowering the cost of living is the goal, then some say the tax pause isn't enough.
10 cents, you know what I mean? It needs to be permanent.
But it's too expensive to go higher.
The issue is about how the companies got away with raising their prices to begin with.
But Langlois-Bertrand says there is an argument for focusing away from gas price hikes.
Encouraging Canadians to buy oil is not necessarily the right thing to do in a world where, most of the countries are moving away from oil as quickly as possible.
And so some say this may be an opportunity for Canada to lead a transformation in global energy. Anastasia Dextrine, CTV News.
Well, the SAQ has changed its mind. It now says it will give out boxes after all. Last week, the SAQ said it would stop handing out boxes as of August 1st. Well, now it says boxes will be provided, but only on demand. The Crown Corporation says they heard from just too many customers and employees who said a ban was unworkable. The original decision was made to save money. Laval police are looking for witnesses to a fatal car crash in January. The crash involved several vehicles. It happened around 7:30 in the evening, January 5th, on Route 335 near Dagenais. A 6-year-old girl and a 5-month-old girl were killed. Police say they are looking for the driver of a Hyundai Kona similar to this one who lost control and struck 3 other vehicles. Anyone with information is asked to call InfoCrime at 450-662-4636. And 2 men were shot overnight in downtown Montreal. They were outside a bar near Guy and St. Catherine Streets. Police are now going through surveillance video. The mayor of Longueuil has given birth to her first child. Catherine Fournier posted photos of her son, Henri, yesterday. She says he was born Saturday morning at Pierre Boucher Hospital. Fournier announced her pregnancy during last fall's municipal election campaign. And still to come, a made-in-Quebec fossil almost twice as old as dinosaurs.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news.
A new archaeological find has many in the scientific community buzzing about a place in Quebec that's considered to be a world treasure trove of sea fossils. Researchers from McGill University discovered a new species of ancient jellyfish. It was a soft-bodied, tube-shaped creature with a ring of tentacles closely related to modern jellyfish. The fossil was found in Saint-Joachim, about 50 kilometers north of Quebec City.
In this sort of fairly deep sea area with fairly few water currents and a relatively low oxygen content, which makes it very suitable to preserve these types of soft-bodied organisms. And it's probably just this sediment accumulation over time that was able to cover them and therefore allow them to become fossilized.
And the fossil has been dated to about 450 million years ago. A vegetarian restaurant on Saint Denis will close in July. Resto Vego says it's been struggling ever since the pandemic, and now it says it just can't survive the rising costs. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
It's lunchtime at Resto Vego, and at the buffet, customers are filling up their plates for what could be one of their last times at this restaurant. Dominique Azocar is the manager of operations.
We are all very sad.
In less than 3 months, Resto Vego on Saint Denis will be closing its doors for good. The restaurant has been serving vegetarian and vegan food for nearly 50 years. But ever since the pandemic, Azocar says they've been struggling to keep up with rising costs. And their biggest expense?
The rent at first. The rent, absolutely.
$30,000 a month in rent. On top of that, Azocar says the building where they're at has been sold, and finding an affordable new spot in the city has been impossible. Dominique Tremblay of the Quebec Restaurant Association says times are tough.
The restaurants, they saw the cost of food rising, the cost of electricity, salaries, the rent is really high.
Resto Vego is far from alone. According to a study from Dalhousie University, 4,000 restaurants across Canada are projected to close this year. The study shows as things are getting more expensive, consumer habits are changing. More people are choosing takeout over going out for a meal. In Quebec, Tremblay says the restaurants that are opening up are mostly just over-the-counter service.
Less employees, it's faster, it's a bit less expensive to manage.
Azocar says Resto Vego is more than just a restaurant.
It's a place of communities.
The doors close on July 12th. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
And still ahead, a Canadiens fan who brought his whole personal team to Game 1 in Tampa.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, we started the day off with a light dusting of snow, followed by a mix of sun and clouds, holding on to cooler temperatures. But as of tomorrow, we'll start to see a return to spring-like temperatures. Let's put our futurecast in motion in one moment. But first, let's talk about today's daytime high, because we did still hold on to cooler temps today. 4 degrees was the high, and typically we'd be at 12 degrees. Now this low of 2 is our seasonal low, and our high today is actually closer than it should be. And I'm sure many Montrealers are not liking that, especially those who have maybe got an early start on their gardening. Not a good idea until at least the end of May, early June. Now, here's our futurecast. We'll put it in motion. We're seeing clear skies at this time. Into the early morning hours, we start the day off with cloudy conditions. That's going to be what we're holding on to throughout the day. And we get a preview of a system that's making its way. Now, it looks like we could see some showers into the evening hours. There is a 30% chance of these showers. Now, different weather models are showing different things, but this futurecast is what I like to trust because you can actually see the systems moving in. So we could be dealing with some rain until about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Then that system pushes eastwards, and we're holding on to cloudy skies to start our Wednesday. So we are going to see an abundance of sunshine, but we could see some peaks of sunshine in the next few days. Overnight, it's going to be -2, so it's going to be another chilly night, feeling like -8, clear skies. And then into the early morning hours, we're pretty much seeing cloudy skies. It'll feel like -6 as you get ready to head off to work, hitting a daytime high of 8 degrees. And once again, we could see some showers around 2 millimeters, and it's only a 30% chance. Looking at our longer range forecast, well, we start to see those temperatures pick up. 13 on Wednesday, 15 on Thursday, sunny, and 12 on Friday, 14 on Saturday with some sunshine. There is a chance of 2 millimeters of rain in the evening. 15 on Sunday. We start the day off with a few showers. This time next week, a nice 17 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds.
Well, for lovers of the Toronto Blue Jays, a sweater takes a permanent place in the team's history. Here's Heather Butts.
I don't know why it's making me cry. An emotional reunion for Carla Courtney and her original Blue Jays sweater.
Can I hug it? Am I allowed to touch it? No, it's in a museum.
Part of a knitting passion project dedicated to her beloved team has turned into a piece of sports memorabilia woven into Canadian history.
Even if I was dreaming of something that would happen as a knitter and baseball fan with these things colliding, not even in my wildest dreams would I think that something I've made would be in this type of institution.
Her sweater, now part of the nation's largest sports collection at the Canadian Museum of History.
We think sports can tell great stories about Canada, Canadian identity. This seemed like a way to go beyond just the record books or the stats and really talk about how sport is lived in the country.
And this series is underway with a swing and a ground ball that's fair.
Courtney started the playoff sweater when the Toronto Blue Jays entered the postseason last year. Only knitting on game days, the garment and a remarkable story of sports' power to unite took shape. The lifelong Jays fan lives in the UK but returned home to Toronto last fall to catch her team in person. The sweater was even kissed by manager John Schneider, just one of 15 games worth of memories stained into its colors. Her journey with the Jays started at age 7 when her grandmother taught her to knit during summers in Newfoundland.
I would knit and we'd watch the baseball games.
Courtney is back in Toronto to help fans throw themselves into a new season and to celebrate the sweater's success and honor the woman who helped get her here.
What would your grandmother think of all this? Oh, you're gonna make me cry now. Honestly, my grandma would be so proud. Honestly, my grandma's the reason I do a lot of what I do.
That includes inspiring her new Jays sweater featuring Canadian yarn. Created by Briggs & Little in New Brunswick, the same facility where her grandmother would send her fleece to be spun into yarn decades ago. They've now created a special Blue Jays color to honor this story and help inspire fans with their own creations.
I'm happy the sweater gets to live here. It's a Canadian sweater, it's a Canadian story, and now it's kind of in the heart of Canada, I guess.
A full circle moment that could be considered a grand slam.
And finally tonight, a lucky Habs fan posted this video after the Canadians won the first game of the playoffs against Tampa Bay last night. That is Jeremy Levesque from Montreal and his young family leaving the game in Tampa last night, just a little excited. They had just happened to be in Florida as the playoffs began, and with tickets going for $100 US apiece, a steal compared to Montreal, he and his wife decided to experience the game by taking along their 4 young children, all boys, all under the age of 5. 2 of their boys walked right in with them. The other 2 were carried on their bodies in baby carriers, so they did not need a seat or a ticket. So a $400 US investment that obviously paid off big time as the Canadians won that game in overtime.
I was in Florida, and after that I decided just why we just need to go there. Like the vibe, Montreal is so unique as a team, and like I wanted to live that right with my young kids, because I have 4 kids. So I wanted to do it and just like let it all sink in, and that was just amazing, man. Like it's a whole different experience. Like here in Montreal, it's something, but to do it on the road, it's really special. It was amazing. Yeah, like it was, how can I compare it? Because I'm a big hockey fan, right? And so my kids too. So it was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was unbelievable. Yeah, the vibe was amazing. The kid was just like, there was so much noise, it's so much intense in the playoff, right? So everything was just so much intense. Experience of a lifetime, yeah.
And Jeremy says that there were a lot of Canadians fans, as you could see there in the stands at the Amalie Arena, but everyone was respectful of the Canadians fans who were there, and the Canadian fans were even given red towels, which they proudly waved to show off their support for their team. Nice to hear that. And that wraps it up for us tonight. For the latest news, you can listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show at 5 on CJ 8800, and of course, you can always head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca for extended coverage. Thanks for staying up late with us. We'll see you again tomorrow, another hockey night. See you then.